He's a keynote speaker. He is or graduated from Vienna Business School. Then he went on to a company called Daily Deal that was acquired by a company called Google. You may have heard of them. So he went on to do many other awesome things. He's a mega entrepreneur. He works with Alps Ventures and many other marvelous things. He's standing right over there. He just became a daddy 6 weeks ago, which is also awesome, right? So in that sense, make some noise for Senor Pichler. Welcome on stage, Max.
Thank you. I haven't seen that.
All yours.
It's working. Thank you very much for the very kind introduction, Daniel. I'm not sure if I'm as entertaining as you, to be honest. And thank you, Simon and his team, for this amazing event and having me here. I was very glad not to be hit by any of these objectives out there, so I finally made it on the stage. Haven't been on a stage for quite a while, so it's a first for this year and actually the last 1.5 years. Today I want to tell you a bit of what I've been doing. I actually started over here at WU Wien, and we had quite an amazing journey in the last 5 years. So I wanted to start with the questions. Who of you guys want to start his own or her own company, actually? So that's about 80%. The others maybe have their own already. So if we would have had an event and similar, we actually didn't have any startup events like 5 or 6 years ago. It was when Start Europe, the now Pioneers Festival, started, and we would all have a lot of workshops sponsored by BCG or McKinsey, and 90% of the people in here would actually raise their hands to go into consulting. So that actually significantly changed, and I think it's a very good thing. So about what I do, actually. We just had our 3 years anniversary. So the numbers are already a bit outdated, but just want to give you a bit of an overview what we do and what we are. We actually built up a company building venture, mostly focusing on the Southeast Asian market. So far, we have 16 portfolio companies up and running. We actually started companies with a very broad approach, so we didn't only focus on one specific industry, but wanted to get a very good overview of the market in the first few years. So we have, for example, Cluster House, that is actually a co-working space in Europe with about 15,000 square meters. We have Duriana, that's actually a marketplace, a C2C marketplace. We have Epigami, that's an online education company in Singapore and Malaysia. We have DocDoc. You may have heard of ZocDoc in America. DocDoc is the market-leading company doing the same model in Southeast Asia, meaning they provide health services directly to the people. We have Minecraft doing retail and brand marketing in Austria, Hungary, Turkey, and a new market soon. We have Falcon Agency, does marketing. So you see, it's a very wide approach. Up to now, we raised about 30 million USD for our companies, and we actually had to shut down one, so we lost some money, quite hurt, to be honest, but things like that happen. And overall, our portfolio is a mix between seed stage and Series A or post-Series A. The markets we cover with our companies, I think it's a bit small. You guys in the back probably can't read it, right? But we're mostly doing Central and Eastern Europe and pretty much all Southeast Asia. And speaking of Southeast Asia, we talk about 690 million people. It's a market that's quite fragmented, but still a very high growth and very high adaptation rate to all that comes from the mobile, smartphone, and innovation side. The companies we have so far employ, I think, to date it's about 170 people we have in this portfolio companies, and working with over 12 different nationalities. So that's just to give you an overview of what Alps Ventures is and what we have been doing for the last 3 years. We're actually working together with some international known business angels and venture funds from UK and Singapore and Hong Kong. So starting with Alps Ventures, I just wanted to tell you a bit about what are the challenges and things to consider when you do venture building in Southeast Asia, and just give you a bit of an idea what's happening down there. So the main three challenges, both for the entrepreneurs and the investor side, is actually building the team, is actually thinking big versus the perceived capital lack, and even if it's very capitalistic, thinking about exits, because at the end, investors want to see their money back. So one of the main challenges you face when you start venture building is actually building the team. It always seems, so when we started, we didn't think so, but it actually turned out that it's the most essential thing you wanna really perform on, because there's two sides. First, you want to have the perfect team covering all the aspects your business is facing and the challenges your business is facing. And the second is actually you want to be ready to scale up. So once you scale a business, back in Daily Deal times, I co-founded Daily Deal in Austria and Switzerland that was later integrated to the holding before it was sold to Google. We built up, for Austria and Switzerland, we built up about 75 people within 9 months, and the whole runway was, the whole run was 18 months from launching to the exit. So that actually means that you, if you're the CEO of the company, you're pretty much doing nothing else than actually hiring people and interviewing people all day. And then you want these people to be managed as well. So that's quite a huge challenge. And as I am from the business side, and my partners are also from the business side, and I think there's a good mix, as I heard the event is about working together with all the universities in Vienna, but I assume most people in here come from the business side, is that right? Probably, yeah. So so it's always a big thing is to get the technical side covered as well. The second thing is it's very different to when you start your company bootstrapping. So what we do is actually we take a model that most likely has a track record already, and then we actually build the team, and we try to get a lot of funding right away, because we know with a proven model we can double down right away. So it's very different of bootstrapping. So we have seen all these pitches, and it's great because these people are like, they have been working for the last month and trying to cover needs and start from scratch and bootstrap. But that's totally different if you do venture building. So you don't bootstrap, but you actually want to cover like 3 to 6 or even more markets. You actually think of it as a region. And in Southeast Asia, there is, I mean, I just mentioned you have 690 million people, and you have Indonesia with about 250, and you have Vietnam with about 80, and you have Singapore with about 5, and you have Hong Kong. So it's a very fragmented market, but still, it's actually not too hard to localize your products down there, because the culture and the adoption rate for web and mobile models is pretty high in all of these markets. Maybe not in Myanmar. They're just starting to build their first mobile networks. And thinking about the exits, we actually come back to the topic with the team, because in the models we do, and it's mostly transaction based or very transaction close B2C models, it's not about the IP, it's actually about the people executing this idea and working on it every day. So again, it's very important to really get AAA people on board. The opportunities you see on the other side is especially for the investor side as well. So why is it interesting? You actually work with proven models. So the proven models decrease the risk for investors significantly. On the other side, as it says, the execution is still difficult. So once you have the idea, once you have the money, you still have to get it on the street, and that's where actually most companies fail at the end. They have a good idea, they have a great team, they got money, but at the end they fail because they don't come up with a perfect product market fit, or just their lack of execution speed. There's not a competitor running them over and stuff like that. So we actually focus on three things when it comes to selecting the models. That is actually the team, again, and the total addressable market. So Southeast Asia is very, very big market. Compared to Europe, we have about 350 million people. Depends on what you add with Russia and Turkey, but still it's about half the size of Southeast Asia, and about half the size of the United States, actually. And the proven models allow you to really have a very clear and structured roadmap from the beginning on. So what we're doing, as mentioned, we are actually focusing on transaction-oriented B2C models, especially in the mobile business recently, and we build up our basic infrastructure and tech stacks and piggyback on that, and so we're able to really scale fast, and the time from idea to actually being on the market is very short. So that's just a bit of an overview about venture building. I know today it's mostly about bootstrapping and changing the world, but still you can also change the world if you do venture building. And after this short overview about what we do, I want to just tell you a bit about my startup journey. As Daniel mentioned, I actually started at here at this university. Not really here at this university, but in the old building. That was actually not as nice as you guys have it nowadays. So that was a totally different thing. I mean, right now you guys study at one of the most incredible universities worldwide, being created by the 5 most interesting architects, but back then it was not like that. And one very important factor that actually gave me more or less the kickstart, or allowed me to really think about and try how to build my own companies and realize my visions and ideas, was when I joined Icons. Icons is a junior enterprise. Icons is a junior enterprise, and probably the best junior enterprise in the world. And back then, it was actually about 10 people coming together, and we just wanted to do startups, whatever this meant back then. Nobody had a real idea of it, but we then built the company, and we made money by doing consulting projects, but at the end we really wanted to build up this startup ecosystem in Austria. And the very interesting thing is that most of the people from back there have done really nice job building startups. So we have the pioneers founders, we have some people just recently seen big success in Southeast Asia as well, out of Hong Kong, and we have some people that actually went into consulting but now going back to the startup business. And I also was happy to work with the E&I department back then. So I was able to actually learn about the theory, about how to manage innovations, how to build companies on a theoretical side and academic side. But then with Icons, we were able to just implement it right away. And 2009, in a sudden, we got a call, and one of the investors in Daily Deal in Germany asked us if we would be on board to do the same model in Austria. So we were like, I don't know, I mean, I have half a year left for studying, I really want to finish that, but I could actually do an internship, 15 hours a week thing. So basically we ended up doing 16 hours the first day, and we literally started out of our apartment. I unfortunately don't have the pictures, but I still see our strategy roadmap rolling out into 15 countries within 9 months, of course. So, so that never happened because of execution, and it was really hard competition back then. But it was just the best time of my life. So I actually kicked this semester and focused totally on the company with my friends, and we actually quickly built up a team of about 20-25 people within the first few months, and later did Switzerland, and it was just a hell of a ride, because I was not sleeping at all. I was traveling between Vienna, Berlin, and Zurich, as I was running Austria and Zurich, but also doing a lot of stuff with the German founders in Germany. And it was just crazy, but it was amazing. I was just so thrilled to build my own company and to see it growing. And it was amazing. It was just an amazing time. And after 18 months, we happened to be bought by Google, which at the end turned out not to be a very good deal for Google. But that was not our problem, you know. They just weren't able to implement it, honestly. Their structures were so different that it just didn't work at the end. Because their idea was to take the market leader, besides City Deal, the market leader in Europe, and extract the processes and implement them in the United States. But Google has always been doing a non-people's business. It's all automated, it's all tech, there is no people involved, besides some people doing sales in the B2B area. But Daily Deal was a people's business only. Yeah, of course it didn't work at the end, as mentioned. So, but it was, I think it was the 23rd of September 2011. I get goosebumps when I think about it. It was amazing when you build a company and you don't sleep and you run day and night, and then you hear that Google is gonna buy the company you just built. We were just, we were freaking out. We were freaking out. It was Oktoberfest, very good time. So I remember I was actually at Oktoberfest when I got the message from the M&A consultants that signature is done. And it was some crazy weeks, to be honest. So, yeah, we had a good time. We felt like the kings of the world, honestly, like for a few weeks. But I think that's good. You need that, because you sacrifice so much. My girlfriend was not that happy back then. I didn't see her a lot, to be honest. But it was really, really great. And then, of course, there comes some money with it. And it was just interesting when I got the call from my account manager. Because my student's account was more in the minus than in the plus most of the time. But in a sudden, there was quite some game money, some money to play around with, and that was actually a really good feeling as well. So it was a very amazing experience, and we actually took this money then. So a friend of mine who also co-founded and helped building Austria and Switzerland, Max Scheichenast, who's not here today, but he's in Kuala Lumpur at the time, and we partnered up with a third person that had lots of experience in the Southeast Asian market and also coming from the investment banking area. And then we started building Alps Ventures. And Alps Ventures, actually grew really nice within the last 3 years. And but we are still, Daily Deal was a totally different model. It was just so fast. Back then it was this couponing model was the fastest growing model in the world. So there has never been a model growing faster. It was just on steroids. You don't have this every day. After selling Daily Deal to Google, we're like, okay, so what are we gonna do next? It's probably not gonna be selling another company to Google. So you really want to think about your future challenges. And our idea was to really go to Southeast Asia, because we saw that we actually had a lot of experience that the people in Southeast Asia didn't have. There was actually not a real vibrant startup scene about 3 or 4 years ago. However, they actually catch up extremely fast. So as of now, I think they're at least close to European level already, and the pace is just incredible. Yeah, what else? I think that's pretty much about the daily deal times. I mean, there would be a lot of stories to tell, but I think that's better to just do it over a drink or so. And so with Alps Ventures, by the way, we are hiring all the time. So, you are very welcome to drop us a mail if you want to gain some experience, either in Europe or in Southeast Asia, mostly in Southeast Asia, out of Singapore or Kuala Lumpur, and want to rock some new models with us. But as I heard, most of you guys want to start your own company. I just thought I'd give you some advice. So some of them just seem really obvious, but to be honest, I always thought it's like, okay, yeah, this nice quotes and here and that and all this soft stuff. But honestly, it turned out to be really important, and you think differently after a while. For example, I think it's really important that you do something you have passion for, and once you find out you don't have it anymore, then you really want to have a plan to get out, because it's not a sprint, it's going to be a marathon, and you're going to do a lot of sacrifice. So if you don't like it anymore, if you don't have fun, if you're not passionate about the product or the model you do or the business you do, then you should really change, because you're probably not going to finish successful. And then second, work with people that have complementary skills, especially as there's a lot of business people around. So you're probably not going to need 3 business people in the team doing a mobile app for, I don't know, whatever. But you want to have a really good CTO on board. So I think initiatives like this, getting together people from the technical university and Boku and economic university is a really good thing, because you want to get an exchange with other professions that actually can help building the product to the vision you have. Then third, and that was a fact that was most important for me actually, because I didn't know anything about online business when I started Daily Deal. I had no fucking clue about online marketing, nothing. Never heard in university, never done before. So what I did was actually, I tried to figure out what are the most important value drivers we have in the model, and tried to get on mentors for every single part of this. So within 3 weeks, I had a perfect marketing plan from guys who have been doing marketing for years already, and that actually allowed us to really jumpstart everything. So I just tried to learn as much as possible from mentors and experts, but then actually apply it to our model as I thought it would be best. And that, at least for me, turned out to be the way of success. The fourth thing, be focused, focused, and focused. Don't think about like 2 or 3 different revenue models and we're gonna do this and that, and everything is like really, really interesting and so on. You really want to focus on one idea and get that right. Either if it's a product, the product you build, it's the revenue model you build, target one customer segment, and once this is up and running, then think about the next step. The fifth is get out of the building. So you're not gonna build your company if you're just sitting in your room and doing some Luftschlösser. That's not gonna happen. So you wanna get out there, you wanna test it with your customers. Don't be afraid to get feedback. So I remember the first time we really wanted to try new things with one of our startups. It was just an interesting experience. We always thought if we would go out there to, like, for example, a company like Unilever and have a meeting with the MD, we've been waiting for like 5 months to get a slot, and pitching them an idea and asking if it would be interesting for them. They actually were really happy to give us feedback on that. And the feedback was most valuable. And the last one, just do it, because your opportunity costs are never going to be as low as they are right now. So after finishing your studies, it's the best way to actually get in. Either you can join a startup that's already up and running to really, gain some knowledge on operations and tools and everything else, and just learn from people that are doing startups or any other business in industry you want to get in, but then really start your own thing as soon as possible. It's just the best time. Yeah. So, and I think the best book I read about startup management. So there were no startup books around about 5, 6, 7 years ago. There was only management books. But to be honest, the best book I've had so far is The Hard Thing About the Hard Things from Ben Horowitz, because he was the first person who talked about what to do if it not goes well, and if something actually crashes or you fuck something up. And all the other books I know are only about like how to build the greatest thing here, how to do the best thing there, how to manage your team. But it was always about just riding on the positive side. So talking about sleep. It's actually a dialogue between Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz, one of the two most known Silicon Valley guys. And I think it actually brings it really down to what we had back then with Daily Deal especially. So it was, Mark actually asked, actually you can read it on your own, right? And mentioning the topic of sleep, and you want sleep. So the thing is, you just have this drive and you don't want to sleep. You really want to work on, and you want to work on you, and you're not getting tired. And I just, as Daniel mentioned, I just launched my most important project, my little daughter, about 6 weeks ago. That's actually a long-term commitment. So we're talking about at least 20 to 25 years, and then there's even more. But again, you're not gonna sleep, so it's not gonna change later. But again, it was the same thing. So I was never so stoked and amazed, and it really reminded me of these times back then when we started our first company. Because even if you don't sleep, you're just so excited about the thing you're having, yeah. So I hope I could actually tell you a bit about what we're doing, and I hope I could inspire you a bit on really getting out there and doing your own thing, whatever it might be. I also think it's really important to not only do web and mobile business, but really I'm very excited about, and we're definitely gonna to invest more in really solid products, may it be beverages, may it be some other technical stuff. So I think there is a very wide horizon of startups around these days. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much it from my side. I don't want to hold you from the free pizza. There's free pizza, right? Okay. So I want to hand over to Daniel again.
But don't run away yet.
Ah, sorry. Okay.
Good, but say your nice words.
My nice words?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. So what we'll do is, again, fortune favors the brave. 2 questions, but only if you have good questions. So 3, 2, 1. That's question 1, and that's question 2. Good, sorry. Wait, have we got a microphone? But then stand up.
I hear you. That's straightforward, man. That's straightforward. You want to have my account number? Daily Deal was sold for 114 million USD. That's an interesting question.
Good question. And the next question is, how many zeros has that got?
Never had this.
like a lot. Please, can we have a microphone again? Sorry, for the second and last question. Thank you.
From the moment that you had the idea, how long did it take for you to actually implement that, and when did you start seeing success start to happen?
You mean Daily Deal or Alps Ventures?
Any of your successful
Um,
ventures?
with Daily Deal, it was actually, so I got to know about the model. I was in the United States in 2009, in the winter semester actually, and I got to know about the round of fundraising from Groupon by Excel Partners, about 30 million USD back then. So I knew the model, and it was already up and running in the States. And so we got the call first week of January. What we did was actually, we were lucky to use the platform that the guys had in Germany. We still had to improve a lot later on both sides. But everything else we built from scratch, be it sales, be it recruiting, be it marketing, even banners, like everything. We did a new CI, everything. And we launched in the first week of February.
What was the timeline from idea to launch?
So it was not my idea, to be honest, but I executed it. And by not my idea, I mean there was a basic idea of what we wanted to do. Of course, we improved and changed that a lot over the way. But normally, I would say I mean, we have seen that with other companies, we build it, like in Alps Ventures. I would say it's about a year. It's about a year from if you would not do it like as a venture building and a company like Rocket, or as we sometimes do it with Alps Ventures. But I think if you start your business from scratch, I would say it's about a year. Doing all the research, get to know the people, be on all these events, and really educate yourself, and just do it back and forth and create your product and your team around it. But it's always hard to say. I mean, once you start, most of the companies that started with a model never exited on this model because they changed it just so many times.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
You so much.
Danke. Keine Purzelbäume. Thank you.